is 100% your best. And for a guy who's angry at the whole world and thinks the whole world's against him, you sure do got a lot of people that love you, man. Listen to this building, man. Everybody here in Orlando loves Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
AEW fans all across the country and the world love Eddie Kingston. Every single person in the building on Saturday at World's End in New York City is gonna love Eddie Kingston. They don't care whether you win or lose, but they do deserve your very best. 100% of everything you have in your heart and your soul, they deserve your maximum effort. Problem is, I know you better than you know yourself. I know you can't beat me, and you know you can't beat me. So for my money, you've already lost. You've already given up. You already made excuses. But that's not gonna fly this time. A couple years ago, I gave you the shot of a lifetime, and I let you off the hook. I let you go out on your shield. I let you die a warrior's death when I didn't have to, because I wanted you to come back stronger, because I believed in you. This time, you're not gonna get one single favor. You wanna be a Triple Crown champion just like all your heroes? You're gonna have to earn every inch. Win or lose.
No. You talked enough, Al. You talked enough. Let me tell you something, dog. Don't come out here and treat me like your young boy bitch Yuta. Remember something, dog. I'm your senpai. I broke in before you. You're lucky I let you breathe. But I'm gonna tell you something. You're right, dog. You're right, I'm one of the most down people. I hate myself more than I hate anyone else. But on Saturday, the king of the bums is gonna push you. You told me one time when I wanted to quit AEW, you said you are not allowed to quit because we need people like you around to shape the younger guys. So, is that what you want, John? I'm gonna give you everything I have. You better show your fighting spirit, because I'm gonna show you mine. And I'm gonna bust you up and enjoy it. That's my outline, Topher.
Damn.
Calling for his own music. Man, there's nobody like Eddie Kingston in this world.
Match is set.
Jon Moxley,
Final for the Triple Crown. 4 days from after this. That's so cool. Wow, I forgot they had this stage design. That's pretty cool. It's not obviously. Wow, we have a lot to go just to see how this plays out. It's gonna be a full highlight reel here.
His opponent from Cincinnati, Ohio, weighing 231 pounds,
Jon Moxley.
Oh.
Emerging from the gold league to earn his spot in the final.
Different corners, different sides.
Until the final night.
Like how TNA used to do it.
A three-way playoff, which Moxley was successful in.
That was an awesome transition.
So this is something we've been working on here. Eddie is a fantastic striker. I'm not gonna lie, he's a better striker than me, and realistically, he's probably a better striker than Mox. But what we have to do, what Mox has to do is he's got to get close. He's got to get close to Eddie Kingston in this match.
Well, the first AEW encounter between Kingston and Moxley, it was the Bulldog choke that ended the night for Eddie Kingston. You know, Kingston, he's had a long time to think about that night, how that went. Now, that was a great job. I have to ask you too. We saw in his last Gold League match, Jon Moxley suffering what many suspect to be a knee injury. Then in the three-way match, the punishment on the knee continued. How is he been able?
Jesus, dude. That is disgusting. That is disgusting.
I have never seen a chop bring Mox to his knees before.
Mox is telling him, hold on a second. It's like, let's just chill for a minute. The sold-out crowd here, Nassau Coliseum behind Eddie.
Yeah,
And the whole crowd behind Eddie.
everybody in the Continental Classic is hurt. But you see Mox, it doesn't faze him. It's not going to bring him
Straps come down. Jesus.
down. Don't get in a pissing contest with Eddie Kingston.
You see the redness, the welt
Oh.
already raising on the chest of Jon Moxley.
Yeah. You see, this is just a battle of wills right here.
Damn.
Stopping Moxley for a moment with those chops.
Wow.
Moxley staggered
Ince.
back by that one.
Oh, wow. Ooh. See, when they make those weird sounds, they hurt even more.
And that one was below the chest.
Yeah.
I think that was right in the diaphragm.
Oh my god, it's just like, that's so cool.
Heavy blows.
These are two heavy-handed men.
Moxley goes to the ropes. Kingston meets him with the lariat.
I would say Mox has got a better lariat than Eddie does.
Yeah, Mox got a great lariat. Nice throw right there. Exploder, high collar throw.
Kingston was baiting Moxley in, but Moxley feeling that surge of adrenaline.
Powering through it. Oh, but it comes back.
Hit him late, hit him late.
Oh, and it's in his knee too.
Come on, Mox.
Oh. Kingston takes advantage.
And Moxley goes down.
Gotta cover him, Eddie.
Come on, Mox.
This battle here.
Doesn't want to cover him.
You know, but Mox
That's so
loves
cool.
this
He,
stuff,
cause
too.
he wrestles the style. The cool thing about it is he wrestles the style of the people he's watched and he's grown up watching. So it must be so cool just to have these kind of matches and like be at the center of all this right at this moment. And you know the whole crowd's cheering behind you as well is just.
Yeah, swipe on the way down, but a very ineffective one.
Traditional striking, Eddie Kingston has the advantage. Just brawling striking, I give that to Mox every time. Come on, Mox, break him. Break him.
Maybe should have did that.
Oh, look at Eddie's head movement. This isn't a place we want to be.
Yeah, Eddie was changing levels there.
Yeah.
Moxley. Oh, no! Oh, my God!
Damn. 1, 2.
Oh my God, he won! Eddie won!
From 0-2 to winning the whole thing. The first ever Continental Champion. Triple Crown winner. Like all his heroes.
Can't believe it.
King of the Bums, Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston did it.
Eddie Kingston put his life's work on the line. He was down 2 matches. After 2 matches in the tournament, everything from there on out was must win for Eddie Kingston. And he did exactly that.
And I commend Eddie Kingston because all 12 of us
Hold on, wait, I'm
would have
sorry,
given
Kingston.
anything to be where Eddie's at right now.
Here's the new title that we've not seen. Sorry to interrupt you, Daniel. So I just wanted to point this out.
That belt's kind of ugly, but
Crown
doesn't matter.
for a king.
Let's see it, Eddie. Wow. That's really cool.
So awesome. That's so awesome.
For a man king. Sorry, Kings.
I will have to say this. As a wrestler who idolized All Japan,
Put his belts, willingly put his titles on the line, and he retains them.
I can only imagine how proud Eddie Kingston is of this.
Ah,
Absolutely. Emotion for sure. And I thought for sure Mox was going to get it. But there he is. The man who took it. He took the Continental Classic.
he's beaten every he's beaten every British Combat Club member, which actually I I think it's actually cool they showed that we had the Yuta part then, because that makes sense. Wow. Yes!
You love to see
Yes!
As you said, man, a ton of history with these two.
Oh,
As real
that's awesome.
classy of Mox right there and Eddie. And Mox leaving the ring to give the ring to the man who won it all right here, Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston, the first ever Continental Crown champion.
so sick. That's so cool.
Thank you so
That
much
is
for
the
watching
end.
and supporting Dropkick Wrestling. We really do
Yeah, look at that. He's got the 3 titles there, like all his heroes had.
appreciate you spending your time
I love
here
this
with
play.
us.
Oh,
There'll be more videos
Patreons.
coming in the coming months and more effort being put into the videos and more videos being posted on the Patreon in particular. I want to give a specific shout out to everybody over on the Elite tier on Patreon. Their names are on the screen right now. Kyla McGrew, Abyssal.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome video. Awesome video. I want to read what some of this says. Some of his promos during the Continental casting his feud with Miro. His Demons Can Swim promo. And of course his title win due to copyright. Yeah, his Demons Can Swim promo was, oof, that's probably one of his hardest hitting of like everything he's done so far. Somehow his feud with Chris Jericho really brought out the best promos of his, but I prioritize the flow of the video and the narrative instead, including every single live segment of promo. The videos on this channel have turned into more of a highlight reel than well-edited, story-based videos. That's fine. I mean, that was awesome. When you're telling a story as good as that, I wanted to go back to which are shorter and easier to digest. Yeah, I'll probably go back. These are all his socials, obviously. His timestamps. I want to read some comments here to see what we got, what people have said about this match. This one for recaps only. I'm glad you included the retirement tweet. I'm glad you included the retirement tweet in the progress promo. That's such an important part of the story. Yep. Dove commitment. Nice. I was there to witness the Mad King become the Triple Crown champion. See. Yeah, I got the pleasure of also being able to see him in person. He didn't wrestle, but he was there in person. It was just before his injury happened too, which I'm very happy he was able to. He's become a new age Mick Foley for me, so I'm in the Ring of Honor title, the Triple Crown. So happy for him. Hope I get to meet him someday. Yeah, that's absolutely what he's become. He is like today's Mick Foley, you know, just a fat, out of shape guy that's putting everything on the line as he can to just progress and climb the ladder up of the industry. It's awesome. Only a matter of time before he's back in a wrestling ring, which is so true. I wish you on the Owen. Dude, this was a day ago. The Owen's already. Oh, next year. Okay, I see what you mean. That's not happening. Yeah. Drive. I hope it wasn't you driving it. Ooh, I don't want that part 2 MJF video. Yeah, that's a great video. I love that. That's awesome. Awesome channel, awesome videos. Okay, moving on. I want to check quickly before we do get to everything on our boy Santa's app. See if he just uploaded a video recently. Yes! Okay. Did. So, ladies and gentlemen, on to the next bit. We're going back to wrestling hot takes with our good friend here, Mr. Santazap. Of course, he is our new leader in the IWC, our new spokesman. He speaks for all of us, no division whatsoever. Always puts on the best, has the best booking ideas, knows what the fans want, right? And he does this so because I'm recording this on a Tuesday, I wanted to get his reactions and hear some of the hot takes from last night's Monday Night Raw episode, which he hadn't uploaded until just an hour ago. So we're gonna get to do that now. Speaking on Raw, it was a good episode. It's kind of funny how these the amount of critiquing that WWE is getting in this moment, which is for other reasons than just beyond the wrestling product. Monday Night Raw has still been a really good show, a really good, enjoyable, watchable show, really something that's easy to digest in the week. So I'm curious to see what kind of hot takes we get from this week's episode, because there's a lot to be said about WWE at this specific time, but there's also a lot to be said about Raw and the quality of the output that has been, as of recently, coming out by WWE. So I wanna watch this. So let's watch this video and see what kind of wild shit we see. I guess what kind of crazy hot takes we get from this guy. Let's go.
To your Monday Night Raw Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether they're good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling.
Yes.
So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you're following me on X, because I ask for your hot takes there after every episode of Raw,
Sorry for the crinkling.
SmackDown, and every single WWE Premium Live event. Now, if you are looking for my full review with footage of this particular episode of Monday Night Raw, which is nearly 45 minutes, by the way, it's already up and available on the Patreon, patreon.com/.
That's crazy.
Over there, we upload the Raw reviews and SmackDown reviews and a whole bunch of extra content that never gets uploaded here. So go check it out. Link in the description or link in the pinned comment. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications.
So you know any man knows what he's talking about when he owns the fucking spinner belt. That's how you know. That's how you know.
I'm incredibly confident that you're going to fall in love with his YouTube channel, because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, that's enough. Let's read your stupid shit. This match was WrestleMania quality. It ended in a disqualification, but in honestly the best way possible.
Yes, WrestleMania quality. I mean, it was just a good match. I don't know if you got to say it's WrestleMania quality, but again, that match with Seth Rollins, it all made sense. Had one of the best kickouts I've seen this year so far. It progressed the storyline in a way that makes sense, and in a way that made everyone still look rather good and sets up good things in the future. So I agree.
We're definitely going to be talking a lot more about what happened in this match, the outcomes, the things that can come about it. But I do want to talk about how you mentioned that it ended in a disqualification, because it was the most predictable ending. The second that this match was announced, I think you, me, and everyone knew this match had to end in a disqualification, because there was no way that Jey Uso was...
Why not? He lost the IC title in 28 days. He could have lost, and Seth Rollins is not going to get pinned, so
going to lose the title.
I was
there
into
was no
it.
way that this new top heel Seth Rollins was going to get pinned. However, even though they gave us the most predictable outcome possible, the journey that they took us on, the crazy plot twist, and the awesome match that they took us on to get us to the predictable ending was fantastic. Sometimes it's okay to get to the predictable ending so long as the journey there was fantastic, and that's exactly what we got. This was such a fantastic main event for Monday Night Raw.
Sure was.
Seth Rollins is truly one of the best in-ring performers. Him giving Jey Uso a banger match tonight is the biggest proof.
I'm not gonna speak.
I don't want people to get it twisted.
No, don't. Oh, he's gonna stand on a pedestal right here, and he's gonna say some crazy shit that I'm not gonna go too deeply in, but
because I am seeing so many people online saying that this match was only good because of Seth Rollins.
I'll let him speak.
We cannot be thinking that way. It always takes two to tango, and this was Jey Uso's best match of his career as a singles performer, if you ask.
Wait. Was it though? Wait. Braun Breaker on Raw in Calgary, or Gunther at Saturday night's main event. It's top three.
Ask me. I thought that both guys.
What about the Night of Champion 2021s or the Clash of Champion 2021s, 2020s matches with Roman Reigns? Those are up there. Top 5.
Great chemistry with one another, and of course all
Top
of the
5.
crazy shenanigans that made this match feel like Bloodline rules certainly helped elevate this match. But to me, it was about the drama that they created. They made drama out of a match that shouldn't have had any drama.
Why not?
We talked about how predictable the disqualification finish ultimately was, but there were multiple times where I genuinely thought that the match was going to end. So kudos to both of these guys because they took us on one hell of an emotional journey throughout that main event. Kind of confused as to why Penta versus Dominic Mysterio is on Backlash. Penta versus El Grande Americano makes way more sense to me as a feud and adds to the quest of being the best luchador story of Americano.
Ugh, cringe. No, not yet. Why would he? He's going after the IC title, man. It's gonna happen after this, because then Dominic will pivot to AJ Styles. But, ugh. Relax.
I'm not really going to talk about the El Grande Americano side.
Oh,
things.
of course
I
you
mostly wanna
don't.
Focus on
Of
the
course
fact
you
that
don't.
Penta versus Dominic
Of course you
Mysterio
don't.
was announced for Backlash, kind of seemingly out of nowhere. I do have a little bit of a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, that being that Logan Paul versus Jey Uso was penciled in to be at Backlash. I think everybody expected that match to be announced at the start of the show, and we ultimately ended up going in a completely separate direction. And it seems to me like Penta versus Dominic Mysterio was never meant to happen at Backlash, but they ended up inserting it in there last minute so that Backlash could still have 5 matches nonetheless.
That's an interesting idea. I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't want to do it, but they really just look at like the card we had with Gunther and Pat McAfee and Cena and Orton and just think, wow, we really can't run Paul versus Uso. I don't know about that.
Because Penta getting this championship opportunity, if you ask me, like, makes no sense. Penta lost at WrestleMania.
He didn't get pinned.
He lost the night after WrestleMania. He beats JD McDonough, and that's all of a sudden somehow good enough to earn an Intercontinental Championship match at a PLE? I don't think so. I
forgot who he
think
lost
that
to
this
before.
is a filler match that they tossed in last minute. A filler match that I'm going to be totally okay with because I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. But I do wonder why the pivot away from Jey Uso versus Logan Paul, because to me it was clear as day that that's where things were going to go for Backlash.
I think you know
now,
why.
Obviously, we know that Logan Paul attacked Jey Uso after the show, so there's
Which he
still
did,
something going on there between Logan and Jay. It's just that maybe they might give it a little bit more runway to develop as opposed to just creating this feud basically out of thin air and trying to pay it off in just 2 weeks worth of building. We need a third man for Rollins and Braun.
Okay.
If you're going to end...
Yeah, that's very true. It's the rule of thirds, man. It's gotta be 3. You can't have a stable of 2 guys. It never feels right. It never does. Especially when they're not a tag team. You need at least 3. And I don't know who it could be.
And Raw
But-
in that type of fashion, you gotta capitalize. Hey, listen, I'm just a wrestling YouTuber. I'm no mathematician, but I can do a little bit of...
No! Paul Heyman doesn't count! I need a wrestler! We need a third wrestler in here.
basic math here,
No.
all right? Because we have CM Punk, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso.
Oh.
3 guys right
I
there.
tried to predict
and
it.
Braun
Fuck.
Breaker and Seth Rollins. It looks to me like if we want all of these guys to go at each other in a tag match, like we might just need one more person here. I genuinely
Corny
think
motherfucker, bro.
that this is a storyline pivot to create the reveal of the third. Everything from what we've heard from Wrestling
It's gonna be
League
Sami
was
Zayn.
that there was never meant to be another member of the faction, but I
Right.
think based on feedback that wrestling fans gave regarding this storyline and the demand and the desire to have a new person be revealed, that I think they decided to pivot Jey Uso's storyline with Logan Paul into this so that they could reveal a new member.
Logan
Because to
Paul will
me,
be the third.
It's clear as day now that they're going to be doing a 6-man tag match.
Why can't Logan Paul be the third, huh?
And if they're going to be doing that, we're going to need one more body in here to help out Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I think that we're going to be getting the reveal of member number 3 sometime soon. Theory and Waller are going to finally break up, leading to Theory
Oh,
joining
Theory could be
Seth.
third.
In this new
Why would
faction,
you-
Theory will be just like how Jay was in relation to the Bloodline, the one that turned into a mega babyface. I don't think it's a coincidence that the second that we have this Seth Rollins new faction and then the big buzz and conversation online as to who's going to join this faction now, that all of a sudden they brought back the storyline that's been down in the dumps, that's been dead for several months, which is Austin Theory breaking up with Grayson Waller. They brought it back over the last couple of weeks. To me, they took a major step towards it with what happened with Sheamus and Grayson Waller basically setting up Austin Theory, demonstrating that he's not a good friend that cares about the well-being of Austin Theory. I think it's just too much of a coincidence. I think that maybe they are setting us up here for the breakup of A-Town Down Under and for Austin Theory.
Dude, Austin Theory. I'm not even joking. 2022, this man was getting shat on for like months on end by everybody. Months on end. And I was like, you know, he's not that bad. He can play both sides really well. And he's a decent in-ring wife. But because the way he was presented, like being Vince's guy, whatever, people I guess just didn't like him. But now all of a sudden, like, oh, he's stuck in this tag team with fucking Grayson Waller. And like, oh, look at all the potential he has. Brother, he won Money in the Bank last year in 2022 and held the United States title for 250 days. So, like, we don't We've done this already. Like, are we really gonna do this again? Are we really gonna do this again? Because just in terms of crowd reaction, he hasn't done anything special to get put in that position.
To perhaps maybe join Seth Rollins.
Whatever.
I think we can all agree that Raw's match with Jey Uso versus Seth Rollins was 1,000,000 times better than Gunther versus Jey at WrestleMania 41. Here's what's funny is that I thought, and I don't think I was wrong, I thought that Jey Uso versus Gunther was Jey Uso's best match of his singles career, albeit I said that it wasn't that great. I said that it was a pretty like basic Gunther match, but a fantastic Jey Uso match. This match was just good in general, in its own right. This is by far Jey Uso's best singles match of his entire career, and it's not even close.
It is close.
Finn was talking to Roxanne backstage. I wonder what they could be cooking.
Who cares?
Maybe he's giving her advice on how to keep losing. Raw has been good now 3 times in a row.
Yes.
While SmackDown has not been good for a long time.
Hasn't been good this year so far. Aside from the TLC match. Wait, hold on. I'll be right back. I'm back. Damn. Dude. Fucking. What yeah. Never change. Santi's out.
There is a clear divide in quality.
Yes.
And it's frustrating as a wrestling fan. Monday Night Raw is the it show. That 2.5 hours that we watched literally felt like an hour. The show flew by. I blinked and we got to the main event. And that to me demonstrates that you have yourself a very entertaining show that keeps fans engaged. Meanwhile, on Friday Night SmackDown,
it's a drag.
Brother, I am finding myself abusing the hell out of the fast forward button. That show drags its feet. It just feels so slow. And it's not because of lack of star power. Both shows are stacked with star power. There's just something about the pacing of Friday Night
writing
that just doesn't
the writing.
do it for me. Well, Monday Night Raw is not over yet. I ain't hearing no
Oh,
bell. I guess you're technically
there
right.
wasn't a
If
bell.
you go back and rewatch that, the bell never rang. Which, by the way, brings me to the question, when CM Punk's music hit, Seth, why didn't you just pin him? You know, you had him right there. It took CM Punk like 20 seconds to get to the ring. You could have easily just pinned Jey Uso there.
What a...
and
got him. He fucking got him there. Holy shit.
CM Punk wouldn't have gotten there in time to stop you, all right? Sometimes wrestlers make stupid decisions, okay? And that was one of them. WWE has to be setting up Evolution 2 or something similar because they are intertwining NXT and main rosters in such a way that it makes sense to me. And I know that there has been rumors too, fingers crossed. So I know that there's been rumors about Evolution, but I've also heard rumors that Evolution 2 is now not going to happen, that there isn't a viable reason from a business perspective for it to happen, which I think would be criminal. It would suck.
I would like to see it.
There's room in July. Absolutely. When you look at the PLE schedule, we have Saturday night's main event at the end of May. We have Money in the Bank at the start of June. We have Night of Champions at the end of June. And then right now, nothing scheduled for July except maybe a Saturday night's main event. So there is
SummerSlam?
room somewhere in there, maybe midway through July to do an Evolution all-women's PLE. And then that can tie us right through to SummerSlam in the beginning of August.
I don't know.
I hope they still do it. It's been a long time since something has excited me this much in the women's division. Moving NXT talent up to Raw's main event scene is one of the best decisions that they've made. They can't keep the company's best talent stuck in developmental. So I much prefer this system of NXT people getting just immediately put into the main roster without the hoopla of them getting drafted or
hell
anything
yeah.
like that. If it makes sense to put them on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown because you've got storylines for them and matches ready for them to go, don't wait for the draft, just do it. And I'm glad that this is how they've handled the move up of Roxanne Perez and that they are allowing this free flow move.
I think it's a little goofy that, you know, her and Julia are teaming up after just feuding for, like, ever. But, you know, obviously they've now come to a point where they're like, they both have the same frustrations within their positions in the company, so now they're gonna go out there and get opportunities for their own. So it makes sense, but it was a little weird. It's just weird to see them, like, together still, so far.
movement between people like Stephanie Vaquer and Julia, because like you said, these are some of the best women's wrestlers on the planet. They don't need developmental time, so you might as well showcase them while they're still in developmental, honing their WWE aspect of their craft, while showing them to the wider audience that is the main roster fan base. I just don't like when people get drafted, don't get used, and then eventually just get released anyway, which is, I think, what they're not doing anymore. I feel like they're just releasing the NXT talent that they don't plan on using in the main roster, instead of doing the song and dance of drafting them and then eventually releasing them. I think that this system is just so much better.
What the fuck? Is this a plug for your next show?
Oh my god! Oh! Okay, that's filthy. That was... And beautiful. Man, I love that spirit bomb. Oh, oh yeah. Woo! Oh. That, folks, was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, available exclusively on patreon.com.
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Fun versus the SmackDown reviews.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
The community. But that's enough. If you're already a patron, thank you so much for your support. Let's get you back to the video. I was actually hoping to see Jey Uso lose. I'm not a hater, but he just doesn't excite me as much. Seth with the title was the only time that I've genuinely cared about it so far, and with the new huge amount of talent around Seth, you could have bangers every pay-per-view until...
I lost track of what you're saying halfway through. I'm not a hater, but he doesn't excite me as Seth with the titles. Only time I genuinely cared about it so far, and with this huge amount of talent around Seth, could have banger papers every... until ultimately him versus Roman again. Dude, you literally just described Seth Rollins' last World Heavyweight title reign. Can you just give us a breather a little bit? Just a little bit of time in between them?
Ultimately him versus
like, relax, just relax.
I cannot express to you how difficult it was to read that. Somebody please give this man a period or a comma.
That's also true. I
won't lie, I always thought it was an inevitability, especially when Seth Rollins became like the ultimate evil top.
She is, yep. She did. What the fuck?
Roman Reigns.
Whoops. Camera went off. No! Whatever, we're gonna not worry about that.
So I thought it was gonna be a long time before we saw Seth Rollins actually get a proper opportunity at that World.
There, you can see it, and fuck, I don't know when it did. Oh, that's so annoying. You know what? Whatever. We're gonna move on from this one and just go on to the next one.
Just
that's how we adapt.
Really lived up to the initial reign that Seth Rollins had. Roxanne Perez should be the one to dethrone Io Sky, but build it up for SummerSlam Classic.
We just had the match.
People are already thinking this highly of Roxanne Perez. I know that a lot of people were bummed that Roxanne Perez was left off of the WrestleMania card, but I kept telling people, hey, this is exactly what happened to Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton was awesome and loved and heralded as a great new up-and-comer at that year's Elimination Chamber, and then she misses WrestleMania, and then she goes on to have a great run on the main roster. And I do think that that's what they're setting up Roxanne Perez to ultimately do. I think that Roxanne Perez could be a great option to dethrone Io Sky. I still think it's going to be just as simple as Rhea Ripley, but the fact that people are already thinking this highly of Roxanne Perez genuinely makes me happy, because she is so damn good. Holy promo. This was the best promo that I've seen in a long time.
All right,
the
relax.
amount of emotion that was presented, as well as the crowd work, was incredible. I'm very excited to see what happens next.
I mean,
yeah,
Paul
Heyman
Heyman's just always a good promo, though. So, like, I can just expect that from him, and I will be satisfied with what he gives me.
Promo was genuinely out of this world, not only because of the emotion, but because of the subject matter, because we got a proper, good explanation as to why he did what he did to both CM Punk and Roman Reigns, saying that CM Punk put him in an impossible position between choosing between friendship and his tribal chief, and Roman Reigns clearly never cared about him, considering that he left him to the wolves to get destroyed by Bloodline 2.0, and only came back not to save or protect Paul Heyman, but for his Ula Fala. How can you blame this man after he lays it out the way that he did? And I love that he lost his shit on Jey Uso, because Jey Uso was pretty much completely vilifying him without hearing his side of the story.
Right.
And honestly, after hearing his side of the story, I gotta get what Paul Heyman did and why he did it. But
yeah,
the combination,
I think the best heel turns in terms of like building it up and like explaining it aren't the ones that are like, oh, all along I've been planning to like betray you and all that stuff. It's the ones where like recent things happen and you don't think about like, and you see them happening, right? Because like again, Paul Heyman described, if you didn't see the episode, how Solo Sikoa beat the shit out of him, put him through his table, and then he threatened his career. But then all Roman cared about was just getting his Ulafala back, right? So I think like, but then Paul Heyman still stood by his side all the way until WrestleMania. I think it just makes a lot of sense than someone from the beginning be like, oh, I was the puppet master of all from the start, just trying to control everybody to get like success and all that stuff. But yeah, it was a good promo. Like again, Paul Heyman's a great promo, and
of his intensity, like you said,
I just expect that from him.
Phenomenal. The subject matter, all of that put together with the fact that you had a Paul Heyman delivery, you had yourself the perfect recipe for one of the best promos that I've seen in a long time. I think that this will actually be a good match. We know that Pat is good in the ring and Gunther is Gunther.
Pat McAfee versus Gunther. Ooh. Here, I will be right back once again. No, I'm good. Okay, thank you. Oh, woe is me. I'm gonna eat during stream. How terrible. Ah, with my full hands. Put that down. Oh. Wow, just so horrible of me. Even consider. What am I supposed to eat? What am I, a human being? Anyway, back to the hot takes. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, Gunther and Pat McAfee. I mean, Pat's alright. He's alright, but he's not like... He can be carried really well, and I don't think this is going to be more than just like... It's going to be like his match with Tozawa. It's just going to be... It'll go 10 minutes at the most. It's not going to be crazy. So we'll see what he has to say, though.
I don't doubt that it can be good. I'm just kind of conflicted. Do I want a good match, or do I want Gunther to destroy Pat McAfee?
He's not going to
These are
destroy him.
the two things that I'm honestly weighing really, really hard, because a good match would mean for it to be competitive, for Pat McAfee to actually get some offense in. But if it was a good competitive match, could that potentially hurt Gunther's overall stock in looking like the scary death machine that he's supposed to be? Meanwhile, a squash match does make him out to be the scary death machine, but it also could be not particularly very entertaining for the people in the arena and the people watching at home. But hey, look, squash matches can be entertaining. I still firmly believe in my heart of hearts that this is a setup for something bigger, something like a Goldberg. We'll see. I still don't know whether I want a good match or a squash match, though. This segment was messed up in such a good way that it felt good. Finn broke character, and AJ fumbled the word Intercontinental Championship.
I didn't pitch much
shout out
attention
to
to
AJ
this.
Styles for saving that, because when he fumbled that and he said Intercontinental, yeah, you know, I'm so flustered I can't even say it. I personally love Dominic Mysterio saying like, okay, old man. This segment honestly brought a smile to my face, because it was just so goofy in all of the best ways. I love the callback to the New Japan days when both Finn Balor and AJ Styles were both individual leaders of the Bullet Club. I feel like AJ Styles in a storyline with Dominic Mysterio is a great way to put over Dominic Mysterio as well as a good Intercontinental Champion. So everything about this and everything that it can be, I like. Omaha crowd might be crowd of the year. So
No! Get this shit out of here. This is... Oh, this is so weird. So weird. You're so weird.
Belgium. Yeah, shout out to the Eating Pussy Cures Depression shirt guy. We all saw you, brother. Stay classy, Omaha. I don't think that it was the second best crowd after
Is that where they
Belgium, but I
were?
think it was
Nebraska?
the best American,
Jesus.
like North American crowd that we've had. I was shocked as to how entertaining this crowd was. They weren't just doing what chants and yeet chants. They were actually like creative. They made noise when they needed to make noise. All of the segments got love from the crowd. So huge shout out to Omaha. You guys brought it. At first, I wasn't a big fan of Rusev going against Alpha Academy, but his reasons in this week's match really changed my mind.
I shouldn't see
I'm
his
excited.
reasons.
I
don't
think I'm
remember
going to
his reasons
disagree
were.
with you. This isn't
What?
like really working for me. And I think part of the reason is that I don't really see what the next step here is for Rusev beyond just like beating up Alpha Academy.
He's
Meanwhile,
gonna beat
I
some
look
other
at
people.
Aleister Black and who they decided to debut him against, and I see clear progression up the card, right? Taking out The Miz and then moving on to Carmelo Hayes. When you take out Alpha Academy, that's really it. That's all there is to do, unless a babyface comes out to save
LWO.
Alpha Academy.
It's gonna be
and then your
LWO.
next feud is against that babyface. I just don't find it to be particularly very interesting to have the monsters take out Alpha Academy. I've just seen it too many damn times. I wish that they chose something different for Rusev personally. Having Logan interrupt after Raw was off the air was the right move. It doesn't shift the focus of what was ultimately a great match onto him when he doesn't have any connection to Seth's
Yeah, that's
faction.
cool.
That's actually a really good point, but I still ask the question, what was the original plan here, and why did they make it sound like that match was going to be a backlash? What are we going to do now? I do appreciate WWE continuing the conversation, considering, you know, us fans continue the conversation on social media, and this is what it is. This is a conversation on social media. It is us, the fans, that are spreading what happened between Jey Uso and Logan Paul, and we've seen
Does
this
this guy
before
ever
after
talked
Bad
about
Blood
AEW
with,
at all?
Kevin Owens and Cody
Does he
Rhodes,
have a single
and
ma-
that ultimately
like,
worked
does he
at
know
creating an
anything?
interesting narrative and giving us a fantastic feud. So maybe WWE, like I've already said, maybe just wants to give this feud a little bit more time to breathe, as opposed to just rushing a 2-week storyline. Seth versus Jay was a good match for sure. However, I feel that Jay needs to expand his moveset a bit.
Samoan-
He had a couple of good.
Why is it gotta be Samoan drop, huh? Why is it gonna be a Samoan drop? What, because he's Samoan? It's gotta be a Samoan drop? Come on, man.
Opportunities for a Samoan
What the
drop or
fuck?
something during the match that I think would work well for him. I would say that he has expanded his moveset. You compare his matches before the Gunther WrestleMania match to what we've got with Gunther and now with Seth Rollins, and I think that we have a completely different in-ring performer in Jey Uso. He
All right.
has more than just 3 moves nowadays, and he can actually put on decently long, entertaining matches with more than just
Time
spears
will
and
tell about
slashes and
this one
super
right here.
kicks.
We'll
So
see
I
about
would
that.
say that he has expanded his moveset, and because he's expanded his moveset, his matches have just genuinely been better, which is a good thing. The main event was straight up Attitude Era vibes with everyone ringside. It was just chaos.
Fuck, man, I gotta check smaller bites. No. Chaotic. Everyone ringside endings to shows have always been a thing in wrestling. I don't know why it has to be just the Attitude Era.
I loved every part
But,
of it.
alright.
You're 100% right. This is exactly what the Attitude Era was all about. Crazy match-ending shenanigans. This kind of felt like a Monday Night Raw version of Bloodline Rules. I loved how hectic that main event was. Again, I know that it ended in a disqualification that we were all expecting, but
That's
holy
also
hell,
Attitude
did they take
Era.
us on an emotional journey to get to the obvious disqualification finish. This rivalry is definitely making Lyra better. The chemistry between these
100%.
two
I
is
can't believe it took him this long to talk. It took him 20 minutes in this 22-minute video to talk about this feud.
great, and I can't wait to see what happens when Bailey returns. This feud
Why'd
is
you spell-
doing one. These two is
Bro, spell Bailey like that? But yeah, I like this feud. I think they've trained together. I think trained under Becky Lynch. And it's cool to see the women's IC title get a spot on a pay-per-view card. So I'm all for
great,
this.
and I can't wait to see what happens when Bailey returns. This feud is doing wonders for everybody. I actually feel like Becky Lynch is doing a great job at playing an obnoxious, annoying-ass heel with her mentioning the word garbage, no joke, 11 times, and if you want to count recycling as garbage, count it as 12. But Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria honestly just have fantastic chemistry with each other. They tee each other up. They are making each other look better with every back and forth that they have, whether it's physical back and forth or with their words. This is exactly what you want to get out of a veteran in Becky Lynch with a younger up-and-comer that's going to be one of the future pillars of the company. This is where the 4 horsewomen can bring value, not just in star power, but also in creating the next stars of the next generation.
Right.
I would have loved to see more interactions like this between Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton, but honestly, these two are putting on a clinic as to how to get a young star over. I've always said that Lyra was an amazing in-ring worker, but couldn't get over with the crowd. She's finally got a feud that makes both competitors look great and make you want to root for Lyra. She's been absolutely...
Yeah, this is pretty true, honestly. Lau was a bit mediocre on the mic beforehand, and now is better. And yeah, now that there's like actual reasons for her to really get behind her. Yeah. And that's all it takes sometimes. It's just, you know,
too, as of reason. This
some
feud
big
is
name to
making
fucking
her
hate
connect
you.
with the crowd, and that's why it's successful. It's not just making Lyra look good from an in-ring perspective or from her
Because it's also her biggest like feud so far. This is like the biggest name she's ever like gonna share the ring with. You know, it's just one of those things.
promos, but it's making the crowd care about Lyra. We've seen great in-ring workers before. Look at Santos Escobar, but that guy can't buy a single sound out of the arena whenever his music hits. Lyra Valkyria was honestly kind of treading in
Like-
the
like-
same
like that's
direction as
his fault?
Santos Escobar, a great in-ring worker that just couldn't connect with
It's a
the
little bit
crowd.
his fault.
But this feud is making the crowd connect with Lyra Valkyria, and that to me is just a big win all around. I think the Sheamus return was kind of disappointing. So did I, mostly because he
I mean, I'm happy he's back, and his music still sucks. Fuck Def Rebel for life.
kind of came back a little bit directionless. What is the purpose of his return? What, to break up A-Town Down Under? I would have loved to see him have a bit more motivations for himself as opposed to just, hey, Sheamus is back. I'm happy that Sheamus is back because he's just good old reliable. He's just going to put on a great match. But I would have loved to see him come back with a little bit more of a direction. Maybe I think it would have been better for him to come back saving Alpha Academy. Like, honestly, Sheamus versus Rusev, that to me is infinitely more interesting than Rusev just beating up Alpha Academy. That's just my thoughts. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching this.
That's fair, I guess, to build to that. All right.
this episode of Hot Takes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.
Get out of here. That's all you on your videos, Santi's app? Come on, man. All right, nothing too crazy. Nothing said too wild. What we got here? I'm glad for Santi giving Jay his flowers. The hate for him is so forced. This is a guy that just started. He started watching last year. Saying it takes two to tango and that Seth didn't carry that match is pretty hypocritical. When a couple weeks ago you're talking about how Naomi carried Jay to the match. That was a different fucking situation, you muppet. What are you talking about? Full of children. There's nothing but children in these comment sections. I would actually like to see someone. I might do that. That sounds fucking hilarious. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that. Last two videos we're gonna watch just some more YouTube videos. One's gonna be it was from one of my goats on YouTube wrestling right now, Superkick Studios. And it was how good or bad Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship reign was. I feel like, wow. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the title match beforehand. This title reign happened entirely throughout the pandemic and the all within like one or two buildings. It was a lot of good wrestling for the time. Actually, it's what I needed to like. It's what really WWE needed to watch, or what WWE needed to keep themselves with good momentum, is to put it on a have a strong babyface champion carry themselves through the pandemic, and for that he's gonna go down in like history for this. So it actually was a good title reign. But I'm curious to see how much he wants to go in depth with this.
So here's the pandemic carry job that everyone forgot about. I think it's pretty safe to say that.
What you mean forgot about? This is the guy for the pandemic carry job.
2024 was the year of Drew McIntyre. In my opinion, he was the most consistent performer all year.
Whoa, wait a minute.
2024 was the year.
2024? I think he was one of the most interesting characters of 2024. I think him and Kevin Owens had that going really well for them. I think now he's kind of fallen off a little bit because now a lot of it was because of the CM Punk feud that played out through like the entirety of the year. Now it's a bit he's kind of a bit directionless, but 2024, yeah, it was a good time for him.
Year of Drew McIntyre. In my opinion, he was the most consistent performer all year round, even though guys might have had higher peaks than him. Chamber win, great character work on TV and social media. The rivalry of the year.
Social media is also really good.
The bank contract win, even though I don't think they needed the contract to lose its prestige for another year, and even though I don't think they.
I didn't even know they put a sponsorship on that contract.
The contract to lose its prestige for another year, and even a World Heavyweight Championship win to his name. That lasted no time at all. And genuinely, I think this guy might be cursed, because just when you think it's his time to travel the world and be the guy, something happens. Whether it's other talents coming
Always.
or someone outshining him, we've never gotten to see him have an actual run with it. And now you start to wonder, when's the first time he's able to be world champion in front of a packed house? The first two times he won the WWE Championship, there's a major COVID tax attached to both title reigns. First of all, who wants to go back and willingly sit through pandemic WWE? And secondly, Roman Reigns coming back that summer basically overshadowed all the work he put in.
That did, actually.
Everything started with a moment.
At least the second half.
Drew McIntyre finally becomes the WWE Champion, main eventing his first WrestleMania.
That is actually really interesting how to think back on and look at it. Like, if you're going to look at any type of pandemic wrestling from back then, it would be for Bloodline-related stuff. And yeah, that kind of sucks, man. I think to say the spotlight was taken away from him is pretty. I mean, again, when you're looking back, it's true. But like watching at the time, like he was the guy on Raw, and he was the guy. So all the way until like I'm trying to think when they got the crowds back, and Brock. I guess his feud with Jinder, yeah, he kind of fell off by then.
The person he beat to do so was Brock Lesnar. I'll always maintain that if this had a full house, it would be a top-tier ending filled with emotion. Pyro
Yeah,
going off
man.
in Raymond James
Ugh.
Stadium as the prophecy is fulfilled, but McIntyre did this in front of no one. So he's done it for
Sucks.
the first time, and minutes later, out comes the Big Show. The Big Show scampers on down to challenge him for the title, which is unbelievably weird. They aired this the next night on Raw to make it clear that Drew would be a fighting champion right off the hop. He kicked out.
Oh my god. What the fuck? Why the Big Show? What? Sorry, I gotta stop chewing. Why? This is so weird. So he wins the WrestleMania, the main event of WrestleMania. He wins it. And then afterwards, Big Show comes out and challenges to a match for the title, which McIntyre accepts, and then he wins. So what?
Out of 88 F5s beforehand. But then came his first true challenger, the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. Another really fun run that gets overlooked because of the
Yes,
comeback and the
actually,
fact that he fought
Messiah Rollins was super cool. Actually, I wish this had a lot. Like, I wish this took place in front of an arena. That's one of the ones for sure. I think we missed a lot out of potential on.
the Mysterios for 2 years. I don't know. He was obsessed with people embracing his vision videos for a fun run that gets overlooked because of the COVID tax. Also the fact that he fought the Mysterios
It wasn't 2 years. It was like most of 2020.
for 2 years. I don't know. He was obsessed with people embracing his vision and said that Drew wasn't destined to be champion. He was doing the fans a service by going after that title. That came to us at Money in the Bank, and this one's an absolute clinic. Drew during this run doesn't have bad matches. It's just not a thing. As
He
far as the
doesn't.
first contender goes, this was the right guy for him to be in.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised it was just a one and done. This had the legs to go on for longer. After the
Yeah,
match,
I guess.
McIntyre wins. Seth shakes his hand, and it was so confusing to watch because
I forgot he
you
shook
started
his
to
hand.
wonder if that was it for his heel run. This was easily the right opponent for him to face. I recommend you check this one out. Also, check out the SummerSlam and Clash of Champions matches against Randy.
What the fuck?
They're
Are we
both
not just gonna get to
good.
those soon?
The next one to step up was Bobby Lashley. In
Right.
A weird transition.
This is holy shit. This is a trip.
Where he was Lana's husband, but also with MVP by his side.
So yeah, MVP started talking to him. Dude, this one is weird. Cause this was also a good opponent for him, but
This rivalry had a big emphasis on Bobby's full Nelson, how destructive that move was, and how MVP offered his hand in helping Drew before his match against Lesnar, but he didn't take it. Both of them wanting to tear each other to shreds, powerhouse versus powerhouse. I remember these two's rivalry a lot more from 2021 and all the weirdness that happened with Miz cashing in and Lashley winning the title more
Yeah.
than I do this rivalry.
This one,
Pre-match, Lashley locks
super
in the Hurt
low-key.
Lock, which wasn't actually called the Hurt Lock at this point. This
Still
is a
full
physical
Nelson.
match with McIntyre eating a lot of punishment in the early goings and at ringside. Both of them kicked out at big power moves at one all the way through. This is a solid clash. If we could see the body map, all the parts would be red. That's how much they grinded each other down. But of course, you
Hey,
get
yo.
the most 2020 finish. Lana comes down, goes flying off the ring apron. Claymore, literally, see you next year. There's a lot of things that mesh into
Look at his
one
leg
in this
back.
era. I, for one, didn't remember that we had ourselves the tag team of
I remember that.
Drew McIntyre against the original two from the Hurt Business. This was a tag team match for the WWE Championship.
And
where the champion
24/7.
didn't need to get pinned. Truth got the win for his team and assumed that he was now the WWE Champion. This was abandoned pretty quick and didn't result in anything. But the one decision that I do
Obviously,
like
yeah, it was just
is
one-
how
it
they
was a
explored
one-off.
his old partnership against Dolph Ziggler. This is a rivalry you guys have watched time and time again. One guy telling the other that you're only here because of me. The match was made for the horror show at Extreme Rules with Dolph being
Yep.
allowed to pick any stipulation he wanted. Ziggler time after time said that Drew became entitled, he was everything that he once despised, but the question was, how would he react when he brought back a ghost of his past? Heath Slater had been released by WWE just a few days after WrestleMania 36, so they drew the parallels between Drew's firing and Slater's. He said that he called McIntyre every day, and he asked him where he was when he needed him the most.
This
Slater
was
wanted the match that Drew promised.
insane.
That went just as quick as you think. Getting into
Insane
rules,
angle.
I don't remember anybody really knowing what the stip was going to be. After all, we had an eye for an eye match where the winner would literally be decided by gouging out the other guy's eyeball.
Listen, man. To anybody that I guess wasn't watching, they had to try so much, dude. They had to, like, dude, we don't have fans watching our shows. Watch them try to gouge each other's eyes out. It's something that had to be done. Something that's like a reason to watch instead of just watching empty arena wrestling. It had to be done for the greater good.
We actually got a really entertaining match. This match is Extreme Rules, but only for Dolph Ziggler, so Drew has to adhere by all the normal rules, and it's fun to see Ziggler cheat all the way through while Drew has to go at this with normal rules. He retains the title, they run it back the next night, only this time Drew picks the stipulation. WWE, being as creative as we know they are, just go the easy route. They have another Extreme Rules match for the WWE title, and this one's also solid.
I forgot about that one.
Like up until this point, there was just rivalry after rivalry, not a whole lot of meat on the bone, but
yes,
the matches
a lot of
were
one-offs.
good. Then came the defining rivalry of this title reign, and one that, again, because of COVID tax, no one ever talks about. Of course, I'm talking about when Randy Orton winded the clock back and became the dirtiest, nastiest, most sinister he's been in years. We saw the rebirth of the Legend Killer.
He had to.
Hunted everyone in his path. He killed anyone who stood before him.
He had to be.
Became the arrogant asshole that everyone loved. His character work, his promos, everything he did was god tier. You know his promos are great when he just starts yelling and becomes insanely psychotic. The Randy Orton 2020 Renaissance was actually brilliant. I love when rivalries kind of backtrack to things that have happened early on in someone's career. This one had that because Drew said that Orton was handed everything because of his name. He got chance after chance despite getting away with borderline fireable offenses. That he went through nothing. He didn't face the hardships.
True.
He didn't have to try to make it as a first-generation superstar like he did. Randy then decided to clap back by saying that he wasn't fired because he was more valuable than everyone. What happens next? Randy Orton decides to destroy senior citizens. Christian, dead. Big Show, dead. Ric Flair, dead. Shawn Michaels,
kinda dead.
He just kills someone, flee the scene with McIntyre having the blood on his hands. This was easily the match of the year at that year's SummerSlam, which I know isn't a high bar, but every time these two met,
this one was actually pretty good. I've watched this one again
There's
before.
nothing flashy about it at all. It's competitive, the pacing is good, Drew is bloodied, Randy's fighting with the dirty playstyle, taking out refs and attempting punts. This match shows that you can have an awesome match without landing a single finisher because it ends pretty randomly with a backslide. Drew retains the championship, and now Randy has to go back to the drawing board. He has to conjure up a new sinister plan to take away the WWE title, and Randy's plan is to just kill Drew McIntyre. Not once, not twice, but 3 times on the same show. He punts McIntyre, spams these throughout the show, sending him packing in an ambulance. Only for Drew to return in said ambulance 2 weeks later, beat Randy Orton down like he slept with his wife. This guy gets a hat trick of claymores throughout the night since the story was Randy broke Drew's jaw. This is why this version of Drew McIntyre was so awesome. A lot of the times with these anti-heroes and these faces that are so likable, they make them fall into all the stupid traps. I mean, let's keep it real. Kevin Owens is probably the only guy who knows what's going on. Anyways, we get to In Your Face Monday Night Raw, whatever that is, and the title picture at this time is Orton, McIntyre, and Keith Lee, who had just made his debut. They run an angle that if Randy beats Drew, he'd have a chance to wrestle for the WWE title at Clash of Champions. He beat Randy in his debut pay-per-view match. That's basically the end of their attempt to make him a main eventer. They were also hell-bent on making Retribution work, which was a big Wish great value version of the Nexus, and it was really, really bad, so it ends up being the entire roster defending their home turf against this ragtag group that no one takes seriously. We get to Clash of Champions, and guys, overall, this is actually a good show. The triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship, Roman J1 and the Orton.
Man, what did I have? Oh, it was TLC was my event of the year from 2020, 2021. This was also really good too because they have this match, right? And one of Jay's best singles matches. And yes, this.
All a blast to go back, and I recommend you do all for different reasons. All of them give you something different. The Ghost of Christmas Past for Orton come out one by one. Everyone who
I remember that.
to beat him up. First, a goatee-less Big Show stops the punch, steel chairs, crutches, car doors being broken down. Then Christian shows up backstage to attack Randy Orton and get his pound of flesh. Dude,
that was so funny.
That Orton went for a pin in an ambulance match. These two brawled to the top of the ambulance, and Shawn Michaels spawns to hit a sweet chin music, and Orton dies, I think. McIntyre punts Orton, and this man is sent to the Shadow Realm, driven away by a 94-year-old or somewhere close to that, Ric Flair. Really fun match, a lot of shenanigans. Again, this is one of the few matches from the Thunderdome that you should check out.
That one is pretty fun too.
McIntyre holds a WWE Championship Open Challenge with
Go,
the person
Bobby Roode!
answering that being Bobby Roode.
Let's
WWE
go!
This whole title reign as no matter what happens to his body, no matter what happens to his friends, Drew would defend the title no matter what. On the same episode of Raw, we take a trip to the retirement home, otherwise known as WWE Backstage. The legends are sitting together, they're having a little get-together.
Oh my
playing
God.
poker, having some drinks like old-timers do. Randy Orton, to get even after the legends got even for what he did, dresses up as a janitor with night vision goggles, and he puts everyone to sleep. The lights go out.
Kills
and
them!
they
He
have
literally, he
to
actually kills them now.
legends off the floor. God knows what he did to them. The next couple weeks heading into Hell in a Cell is
That's
filled
so
with
funny.
a lot of finisher hits. Randy actually pinned Drew in a tag team match, which was very surprising considering how well he was booked. A lot of brawling, and the central theme was McIntyre's legacy. If he can do this, he's truly beaten the legend of all legends. These two end up getting the main event spot at Hell in a Cell that kicks
Oh
off
yeah,
with a
they
pre-match
did.
brawl
Wow.
Because Randy Orton dresses up as a cameraman. This again, like
pretty
all
funny.
their other matches, is very enjoyable. There's a ton of weapon usage. The ending is Orton knowing that he can't beat McIntyre without going to great heights, literally. So he lures him to the top of the Hell in a Cell. Drew crashes and burns. There's nice little callbacks to things that have happened in the other matches. But in the end, this psychopath Randy Orton wins the WWE Championship.
Yeah!
Randy winning here, honestly, I feel like didn't do any damage to Drew's credibility. Because
Super
he went
shocking.
down looking like a badass. For the year Orton was having,
That was
with the
insane.
Edge rivalry, everything that was going on here, even if it was just a couple days, he deserved a title reign. And
Still totally believable
just
as well.
that,
It made
short,
it
sweet,
was yeah.
Nice little reward for Randy before Drew picked it up again. Both of them go in and out of this rivalry looking fantastic. Drew's first title reign lasted 214 days, and I want to hammer home that this was not a good time for WWE at all. Nothing of interest was happening. One of the very few bright spots from this COVID era was Drew's title reign.
Totally
Him and
dead
Randy Orton
mid-card
carried
scene.
Raw from the summer for the next 3 months. Rivalries against Rollins, Orton, Lashley, even the Ziggler one was alright. Just 20 some odd days later, they put the title back on Drew, and since it's my video, we're gonna cheat. We're gonna do both of the reigns in one video. The second
makes
one's
sense.
not really as impressive as the first one. Randy Orton was scheduled to take on Roman Reigns heading into Survivor Series. The Miz entered the title picture after WWE took the Money in the Bank off of Otis. For the next little while, it was a continued tease as to when he would cash in. They did the switch. Randy Orton went on to fight and burn the
What the
feud.
fuck?
Drew went to take on Roman Reigns in an awesome champion versus champion match. Then comes the final tables, ladders, and chairs pay-per-view. The opponent was AJ Styles.
This is it. This is a great one. This was a great match.
The thing that sticks out like a sore thumb in this second title reign was this was very half-baked. They didn't really seem to care. It felt like they were just going through the motions and went, oh crap, we brought the Money in the Bank back into the picture. Now we have to follow suit. We have to find a way to get it in or out. That was basically the big element in the Styles feud. The main storyline element in this rivalry is that AJ might just be a little bit sharper than Drew. It's a TLC match for the championship. They make things far more random and convoluted than they need to be, because there's basically two matches in here. The first is very slow for what a TLC match should be, AJ and Drew, and then of course the Miz shows up cashes in his Money in the Bank.
This match is
This
good.
becomes a
What are you
triple
talking
threat.
about?
Omos comes in, romantically pulls The Miz off the ladder.
Fuck yeah.
Drew goes Super Cena 2010 and wins it. Anyways, the worst part of this entire thing is just 2 weeks later, after they supposedly finished off the Money in the Bank, they go back and they give it right back to The Miz. The logic is, since Morrison cashed in, Miz can have it back since it wasn't him who handed the ref the contract. One day Money in the Bank will matter again. One day Money in the Bank will build up new stars again.
One day.
And we will all
One
rejoice.
day.
One thing that I feel like is missing from this second title reign is a one-on-one matchup with Sheamus. Whenever these two go at it, it's fun and they tease this rivalry. Keith Lee kept telling Sheamus to watch his back and that he'd turn his back on him any second he could. Lee ended up winning a #1 contenders match to face McIntyre on the first Raw of 2021. This was also the Legends edition of the show, so once he retained, out came Goldberg to challenge him to a match at the Rumble. The reasoning that he was angry was
fight my
that
own
he
dad,
felt that
mate.
Drew didn't have respect for all the legends on the show, even though, like, 3 months ago, he was literally defending the honor of the legends. Lovely logic.
Fuck you,
Sure.
Goldberg.
We ended
Fuck
up
you.
losing about 2 weeks of build because McIntyre tested positive for COVID, so he was cutting promos from his living room. You just never knew with this company at this time, especially when Goldberg was around. It didn't matter, new act or old act, he could take the title at any moment.
Dude,
Thankfully,
I remember watching this match and I was like, I was heavily cheering for McIntyre, man. I was about to be furious if Goldberg actually won this again.
McIntyre came out on the better side of this by beating him. I like the pre-match beatdown, which makes it so he's fighting from underneath. Drew kicks out of everything thrown his way, and 2 Claymores later, that's the win. At this point, you'd think that he's carrying the championship into WrestleMania of that year, but instead they decide to take the title off of him at the next
Hey!
show. Post-Rumble, Sheamus turned on Drew, and 100% they should have ran this matchup one-on-one for the championship. It looked like we were going to get it at the Chamber, but instead he's booked to defend in a stacked Elimination Chamber match, which he won. He entered
Great match.
third, he lasted the longest, only to be cashed in on by The Miz.
Oh.
He becomes the transitional champion of all transitional champions, only to get it onto Bobby Lashley. And that was the end of Drew McIntyre as WWE champion. Between WrestleMania 30...
Well, I'll say that he then challenged at WrestleMania 37 for it, and then he was in a triple threat match for it at Backlash, or WrestleMania Backlash 2021, and then last match was a Hell in a Cell against Bobby Lashley, and he lost. And then that was it. That was it. He was totally out of the title scene after that. Was in Money in the Bank, beat Jinder Mahal, challenged Big E at Crown Jewel but lost, Survivor Series, all that stuff. Faced Madcap Moss at day 1. It was just, you know, it was over for that point, and that's when the crowd started coming back too, which really sucks. But yeah, this was it.
36 and WrestleMania 37, he held the title for 311 days, and throughout so many different rivalries, the consistency never wavered. His character work was very strong, the matches delivered every single time. The best moment was the initial win, the best rivalry was with Orton, and the best match was against Seth at Money in the Bank. The second reign wasn't anything to write home about, but all in all, it feels like all this time has passed, and no one ever puts respect on this guy's name for just how special he made the WWE title feel.
He was the
Again,
guy.
Now the question is, when does he have a proper world title reign in front of packed houses all across the world for the first time in his career? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. In the comments below, leave
Good
a-
video, good video, good video. He was certainly the guy. Yeah. People forget that WWE was actually improving. Dude, that's such a low bar to hit. Like, that doesn't even mean anything to me. Every time they try to push them into character changes, my character is actually Sheamus and his new outfit and stick thingy, Shillelagh, just made him look so cool. This was the reign that fully sold me on Drew being the guy in WWE, and ever since then he's only underlined it. Right. Yeah, I'm gonna call up Solo, specifically Custom against Roman. Who did he face? Survivor Series? Or SummerSlam? He wasn't on a SummerSlam card. Was he? No, he wasn't. That's crazy. Yeah. Really? Now? So good and good. Nice. But that ain't happening. Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't... Again, I'd never go back to it, but it was pretty good. Anyway, last video for the day is going to be from the amazing, amazing channel of Tap Out Corner. Cause they have a video talking about wait. Returns that need to happen. Oh my god. Why is this? Yeah, okay. Returns that need to happen. Let's see what kind of stuff he's cooking up right now. Cause I'll be honest, I don't know what he's gonna say. I'm about to like disagree with like half of these. Let's see what he got.
These 10 wrestlers need to return to WWE soon, starting with number 10, Wade Barrett. Okay.
But does he though? He was perfect for his era. He's got I don't know how old he. How old is Wade Barrett? He's 44. This man is not coming back. He's just a little bit younger than Randy Orton. He's not coming back.
Yes, Wade Barrett has technically returned, but you know what I mean. I'm talking about an in-ring return. Now,
no, he
I'm
doesn't.
not expecting Barrett to pick up where he left off in 2016, but there's still opportunities for him.
No, there
for
isn't.
example, I think it'd be cool to see Barrett get involved on NXT, considering he was the winner of the show's first season. Seeing Barrett compete against the current roster could lead to some interesting matches and storylines. Or, what if Barrett started his own faction in NXT? I think that would be a great callback to the Nexus and stories and feuds. Plus,
you want him to come back to in-ring and be the leader of a group? Oh, I already regret this video.
Come on, wouldn't it be great to see Bad News Barrett again?
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I knew it. I love when he does that.
Number 9, the Boogeyman.
What? Why? In this era?
You laugh, but I don't.
I do.
I think Boogeyman was a fun character, and he'd allow for more creative moments. I'm not saying I want him to wrestle.
Creative moments. What do you do that's creative? What was one thing even memorable he did? He bit like some shit off a woman's face and ate worms. That was it. What are you talking about?
Every week and be in the main event, but I think there's a role for him as a reoccurring character.
No.
Like, what if a wrestler
Don't say Wyatt Six.
ran under the ring in the middle of a match and found Boogeyman under there? Or someone needed
Dude, is this guy just just lives in the PG era apparently. What the fuck?
a surprise tag team partner, and it was Boogie. I get that WWE and wrestling have evolved, but I think there's still room for more flashy and supernatural characters, and Boogeyman embodies that perfectly. Plus, the man is still in phenomenal shape and can still go.
If he says he's as old as he says he is.
So, come on. Number 8, Enzo Amore.
No.
Right. Okay. I know this is a bit of a controversial pick.
No.
Mostly because Enzo Amore himself is a controversial wrestler. Reports and stories have surfaced that he wasn't liked backstage.
No.
He kicked off a WWE bus during the tour. Of course, what ultimately led to Enzo's firing was when he was accused of assaulting a woman, although the charges were later dropped due to insufficient evidence. With all that said, Amore is a very entertaining person to watch. Remember
I don't
when he
care.
hosted the entire cruiserweight division?
Listen, I liked him at the time. No, not coming back. No.
There weren't many people who could lay a verbal smackdown. Amore really stood out. Enzo doesn't even need to come back just to wrestle. Having him as a mouthpiece for someone would be great.
No.
I know that the chances of Enzo returning to WWE are next to zero, especially what happened at Survivor Series 2018.
Yeah!
However, I do think there's value that Amore could bring, but this next wrestler could bring just a bit more. Number 7, Mandy Rose.
Oh my god, dude! You are on a losing streak right now. Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh my god, you're killing me, man. What? What?
Here's another person who had their WWE career cut short due to backstage controversy. Mandy Rose made her main roster debut in late 2017 and had a solid 4-year run there.
What happened? Can you tell me one pay-per-view match? Huh? No, you can't. Cause what?
However, Rose's career really picked up when she left the main roster and went to NXT. While this could seem like a demotion, it
How did it pick up? Did she get better in the ring? Did she get better at talking? Or did they just have to put the bell on her for fucking 400 days?
really helped.
No!
Mandy changed her look and formed a new faction called Toxic Attraction. Within a few months, Rose won the NXT Women's Championship and held onto it for over a year. She was a good champion, and it seemed like it was...
I can't do this, man. I can't do this. What is this guy yapping about, bro? Are you serious?
a matter of time before Mandy Rose would be back on the main roster.
I can't think
However,
of
one day
shit.
after losing the...
I can't think of a more boring year-long reign with 0 bangers in his catalog. Like, no one else comes that close.
The title, Rose was fired from WWE. The reason was that
This is all very tough, and I don't blame her for this part at all. This is not her fault, but Jesus, man, no, she shouldn't come back.
Mandy Rose had a fan time account, basically the same thing as OnlyFans. While WWE isn't as PG as it once was, they still draw the line at adult content. Because of it, though, we missed out on seeing this version of Mandy Rose on the main roster. Not only that, but Toxic Attraction itself never got to go beyond NXT. I know WWE's women's division has moved on, but I feel like there's a spot for her and some unfinished business.
That's such a crazy thing to say. That is such a wild thing to say when you look at people like Stephanie Vakir, Jordan Grace, Jada Parker, Roxanne Perez, Julia, like to have all the Sol Ruka, Zaida, to say see all those people there, like Kalani Jordan, to see all those women there and think Mandy Rose also deserves to be in there. You are on crack, and I'm not listening to you, and I'm not giving you the pen.
That Mandy has to attend to. Number 6, Gail Kim.
Why?
Why? Gail Kim never got that.
Sure.
I know it's cliche to say, but Kim was part of the Raw era. During both her first...
Yes, it's very cliche to say at this point, but I don't know, man. She's old. she's retired. I don't think we need it in this era.
And more so her second run in WWE, Gail Kim was competing in the Divas era. This is when women weren't allowed to do much outside of catfights and hair pulling. That was such an underutilization of her skills. It's a shame because a few years after Gail Kim left, WWE's women's division did a complete 180.
Yes.
While Kim had phenomenal matches in TNA, I can't help but feel there have been a lot of other great matches that fans have missed out on. I don't expect WWE to rehire Gail Kim and make her the new face of their women's division. What I am saying is I think Kim could definitely have at least a handful of great matches against the modern women's roster. I also think there's a
I don't know about that.
there, with Kim coming back and being the
Like a TNA Jazz kind of thing. I just don't see the need for it. It could, if you really wanted to, but like, you could bring any one of those women back from that time. Beth Phoenix could come back and have a run again. Like, I just don't see the need for her specifically.
Her initial WWE run. Number 5, Matt Cardona.
Yeah, I would like to see him back. This is one I'd actually like to see him come back.
Formerly known as Zack Ryder, Cardona is almost an entirely different wrestler now when compared to what he was doing in WWE from 2007 to 2022. We always got little glimpses of what the man was capable of, thanks to stuff like his YouTube channel and the brief times WWE actually did utilize him. However, after his release in April 2022, Matt Cardona pretty much reinvented himself. He started wrestling all over the globe, as well as winning championships in just about every company he appeared in. Most importantly of all, though, Cardona's been able to let his personality shine. I'm not saying Cardona needs to come back and win the world title, no. But I think there's
You said this about everyone so
definitely
far.
WWE right now. Kind of like how Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre left WWE and came back bigger stars.
Yeah, I'd put him with, like, in that group of like ideas of like, you know, guys coming back. But I think it'd be more like, ooh. Would you guys kill me if I compare him to like a Tetsuya Naito of like coming back to like revenge, and just kind of like just in terms of storyline idea, right? In terms of like a gimmick, like Tetsuya Naito, where he comes back with a faction, with like a group, and tries to take over as much as he can. And if he's good enough in the ring, then maybe you could build him up to a world title stage. But yeah,
I think the same.
Or like a
with
Minoru
Matt
Suzuki.
Cardona. Especially with Cardona's real-life wife, Chelsea Green, currently in WWE, I think there are a number of routes
That also
he
helps.
could take with a returning Matt Zack Cardona rider. Speaking of someone who totally reinvented.
No! Was that Mustafa Ali?
let's
Okay.
talk about
Jesus
number 4,
Christ. You scared me so bad. Don't do that to me, man. I mean, yeah, he could. I think there still needs to be enough time for him to like fully utilize like the position he was put into. There's still some stories you can tell within TNA and all that stuff but that is going on right now still, so I could see it. I think it was fucked up they got rid of him in the first place, so yeah, sure, why not?
Ali. During his final few years with WWE, it felt like the company valued Ali, but didn't know what to do with them. Like, remember when Ali randomly fought Randy Orton at a pay-per-view in 2019?
That was awesome.
It was awesome, but it seemed like WWE
See?
didn't know where to go. The best example of this, though,
Oh,
was,
fucking hell.
of course, the infamous Retribution storyline in 2020, where Ali was the leader of a group of masked vigilantes. It was a cool idea, but again, it didn't go anywhere, and the execution was horrible. However, I feel like now that Mustafa Ali is on his own and has more control over his character, we're seeing his true potential. I really like his In Ali We Trust gimmick that he's doing in TNA, and it's actually an idea Ali had while in WWE, but the writers decided not to go with it. I feel like WWE missed out, because it's been great to watch. Like I mentioned with Rhodes and McIntyre, maybe some time away from WWE is all Mustafa needs.
It is.
Now that Triple H is in charge, I would love to see if WWE could do something right with Ali.
He was let go when Triple H was in charge. That doesn't change shit.
Number 3, Paige and Sasha Banks.
Sasha, no, fuck them. Fuck them. They let her walk. They let her walk away. She doesn't need to come back. She could retire in AEW. She genuinely can. Paige, she can't move. She can't do this. She literally cannot do this. What purpose would be for her to come back and wrestle?
Okay, I know I'm cheating, and this is kind of a random pairing, but I'll explain. First, I'd like to see Sasha Banks get another run in WWE. One, because her exit was so abrupt, with her walking out of the company in 2022.
Yeah, because they didn't fucking value her. Why should she come back?
Second, now that Triple H is in control, I think there's some new possibilities.
No,
that
Triple
Sasha
H is in
may
control.
not have had before. On top of all that, the roster has changed and evolved, so seeing Banks feud and have matches with the current women's roster would open up
It'd be
a lot
great.
of possibilities. Now,
But you know,
Banks
AEW's women's
and
roster is still
Paige,
great too.
I definitely would rather see Paige return, mainly because of her career being cut so short. For those who don't know, in December 2017, Paige suffered a neck injury at a non-televised WWE show. Sadly, it forced Paige to retire from wrestling at the age of 25. But after leaving WWE and joining
Damn, she was
WWE,
young.
Paige recovered and was cleared to wrestle. This allowed her to return to the ring and have a run in AEW.
Any good matches?
Which went from 2022 to 2025. The fact that Paige's in-ring WWE career ended the way it did, and that she can now wrestle again, is a big reason I would love to see her return. Now, why I paired Paige and Sasha Banks together goes back to the injury that temporarily ended Paige's career. In case you didn't catch it, it was a kick from Sasha Banks.
I don't need to
that
see
caused
that
Paige
again.
to get injured
Fuck.
And forced her to retire. Considering everyone involved would be okay with that, I think this would set up a great storyline.
Ew. Ew. No.
Women return to WWE, you could have a great feud where Banks resented Sasha Banks for nearly ending her career. Paige could,
What'd
you
she
could
say?
have a great feud
What'd you
where
say?
Banks resented Sasha Banks.
Where Banks resented Sasha Banks? That's so gross. That's such a gross thing. You want what? So I should boo her because she doesn't like that she ended her career? It's like if Big E came back and was a heel towards Ridge Holland. Like, I'm not booing Big E. And I'm not... Dude.
For nearly ending her career. Paige could be on a mission to end Sasha's career, and while Paige would be the villain, you could have some sympathy and see her argument. I know it gets touchy when you incorporate real-life events into wrestling, but that's what creates some of the best storylines.
Not like that.
I realized that AEW could have told this story too, since both Paige and Sasha were competing there simultaneously. However, since Paige's career-ending injury happened in WWE, I think it just makes it easier to tell that story if it's being told in the same place.
They mention stuff from WWE happening in WWE all the time, bro. There's a reason they haven't done it. Because it's a fucking stupid idea.
That it happened. While I wouldn't mind seeing one or the other back in WWE, I think having them there together and telling that story would be the best route.
Wow.
Another wrestler whose career was over way too short is number 2, AJ Lee.
Okay, she doesn't... Oh, sure, yes, I would like to, but she's not going to. She retired. She retired on her own, like, when she wanted to. She doesn't want to come back.
I know, I'm one of many who want to see AJ return,
right?
But that's for good reason. Well, AJ didn't get forced into retirement. Her career
She just
had a
wanted
rough
to.
ending, and she never got a proper send-off. What makes it even sadder is that AJ Lee was one of the few bright spots during a time when WWE's women's division was in a dark place. She brought a lot of excitement to the division, and unfortunately, she left right when women's wrestling was starting to pick up. Just a few months after AJ Lee departed from WWE, the women's revolution began. Imagine the feuds and matches Lee could have had with wrestlers like Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Bayley, and more. Heck, think of all the phenomenal matches AJ could have now with rising stars like Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. Lee
I'd love
might
it.
have the desire to come back.
I would
If she
like that.
does, now is the time. Before I share number 1, here are a few honorable mentions.
Heath.
Maven. Okay. Okay, I know this is biased since I do work with Maven on his YouTube channel, so all I'm gonna say is
Really?
I think it'd be really cool to see Maven back as a commentator or manager or in some kind of on-screen role. Stardust. Hear me out. I'm
Oh my god, this is the worst video I've ever watched in my life.
not saying I want Cody Rhodes to return as Stardust. Rather, I want just Stardust to return. Does that make sense?
No.
I think it would be a great moment if Cody was talking on the mic and out of nowhere, we hear this.
It's like 2006 Kane again. Are we serious? Are we serious? Is this all it takes? I can't wait to read these comments.
Come on, that would be fun. Or take it a step further and have someone wrestle against Cody dressed as Stardust to play mind games on him. I just think it'd be an entertaining one-night return and help show how far Cody has come. Goldust. On the topic of Stardust, seeing Goldust back in WWE
He's like
once more,
very much yes.
I know
I get that. I get that one, but he's very much said like a lot like he's not going back. He's not going back.
Rhodes had an amazing match at Double or Nothing in 2019.
This is so
but just
dumb.
seeing
This is so
Goldust
dumb.
One more time, even if it's just a one-off appearance, would be awesome. Sin Cara. Yeah, I know. I'm the only person who would say this, but I like Sin Cara.
No. Okay, now Mystico, the original Mystico, might work again. Might. WWE's not as hard as their American style as they used to be, especially when he was there. So that could maybe work.
Yes, I know that he botches more than the U.S. stock market.
That's also
but you could have
Himiko.
anyone wrestle under that.
That's two different people you
I
just
know
showed.
it probably would never happen, but I would be absolutely fine if Sin Cara returned to WWE in some shape or form. Samoa Joe. Joe's run in WWE was kind of a mixed bag. His
What do you
run in
mean? He was literally challenging for the title like every single other pay-per-view.
NXT was pretty good, but his run on the main roster was hit and miss.
And he had a lot of great
It didn't help
matches.
Either that Joe kept getting hit with injuries during his WWE career.
Did get injured a lot.
However, now with some time away, I think seeing Joe get one more run in WWE would be great. All right.
It'd be cool.
The number one wrestler who needs to return to WWE is Vince McMahon. Okay, I'm kidding. The actual number one wrestler who
I
needs
knew
to
you're
return
kidding.
to WWE is Dean Ambrose. Now Ambrose.
Oh, it's the thumbnail of the video. I mean, I'd like it. I would like it. I'm sure people would immediately say every single type of Shield thing is garbage, but if he came back, but wow.
Jon Moxley is doing wonderful things in AEW. I don't see him leaving the company anytime soon. But at some point, he needs to come back to WWE. The company has changed a lot since he left in 2019, with new stars, a new direction, and just a different vibe altogether. While seeing just Ambrose in WWE again would be epic, the reason he gets the #1 spot is because of the Shield. They are one of the greatest factions in wrestling history, and made WWE enjoyable during a very dull time. We have to see the Shield together one more time before all 3 men retire, and I feel confident that we will. Something we weren't
I don't need that.
see is what's under the ring.
Okay. That's the end of the video. That video fucking sucked. I can't wait to read these. Yeah! Dolph Ziggler should have been one of those guys. Same, solely awesome wrestling. Same, dude. Oh, I mean, that makes sense, I guess. Yep. Damn right, that's not happening. Gross, no. Really? No one's like... Wow. Okay. All right. Alright, that's gonna do it from that, and I think that's gonna do it for my stream tonight. Good 3-hour stream, guys. Oh, that was a fucking bummer to end on, but that was I enjoyed watching all those videos. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching me watch those videos. I'm gonna upload, those videos will also come out in their own separate uploads, so if you want to watch just that part, you can. In the future, I might do some, I'm gonna continue this, probably do some other stuff. I maybe look into other combat sports. One thing I was definitely thinking of doing was, watching some regional MMA promotions, because that sounds really fun. I know there's maybe like local boxing events, some maybe like the May sumo tournament highlights. But aside from that, yeah, I'll also continue on with the wrestling content in and of itself. So if you guys enjoy that, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I can't tell you to leave a like because this isn't a video. This is a live stream. But I'm gonna end it there, guys. I'm gonna end it like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will catch you all whenever with whatever my next upload will be. Goodbye. Now let's just. Goodbye.